Ready, go! Yes, that's a man!
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Breakdown. In today's episode, we're going to have a look at Paul Linn. I'm going to put a spotlight on his performance at the recent Dave Patton Classic, which coincidentally also was the spot where Brzenk made his return to professional super matches up against Chance Shaw, getting the victory there. Now, of course, Paul Linn has been scheduled to face Brzenk next on October 23rd at the West Virginia tournament under Travis Bagent. And so let's now have a look at how he actually performed, because I think we're going to see some clues in the way and the form that he's in as to how he's going to attempt to take down the GOAT, Brzenk. So let's, without any further ado, have a look now at Paul Linn's performance at the Dave Patton Classic. Alright, you can see straight out of the gates there against Andre Shark, looking absolutely savage. You can see up against Joel Hudick there, another WAL representative in the middleweight division, looking good. Paul Talbot there, another elite middleweight. But Paul Linn looking phenomenal, killing the go off center there. Really looking strong up against some other athletes that I'm not sure of the name of, but you can see that center table back pressure hand combination is looking brutal. Once again with Andre Shark and Joel Hudick there. Very dominant performance so far, not looking troubled by any stretch of the means. There's Adam Wilmot, another WAL athlete there in the elite realm, but Paul Linn absolutely unstoppable so far, going through each of these opponents time and time again to take out the title for the right arm. Now let's have a look in slow-mo, because that all happened so quickly. Watch against Andre Sharkey, you can see the direction in which Paul Linn is attacking. He looks almost Andre Pushkarish. He's got lots of back pressure, he's leaning over to his right, and then he just jumps on it. You can see outside of straps against Paul Talbot here. Great hand and wrist integrity. Paul Talbot having to dump underneath and slip to get to the straps. Now look at the strap setup here. You can see the classic Paul Linn high vertical forearm, almost loaded pronation, slightly dumped wrist. He's really protecting that back pressure pronation integrity so that he can just launch sideways and not have any fear that pronation's going to disappear. You can see now up against Paul Talbot, watch the way the first direction of force from Paul Linn is simply sideways wrist flexion, and that back pressure is already locked up, the pronation's locked up, and it's an absolutely crushing victory there against another high caliber athlete. Outside of the straps, you can see him do it as well. He's happy to hold on. He can curl forward that wrist, add the side pressure, looking really confident and really dangerous in the way that he is attacking his opponents. So it's safe to say that Paul Linn's in pretty good form. When you see that, whenever you see someone just going sideways, you know that they're feeling confident in their hand and wrist. Then there's nothing in their mind that says that their hand and wrist is going to trouble them if they go sideways. That's what I'm seeing in Paul Linn at the moment. It doesn't matter who he was up against. He knew his hand and wrist was not going anywhere, and he then went teed off full effort on side pressure directly. Now, of course, when he faces Brzenk, it's going to be a different kettle of fish. Brzenk, of course, with the greatest hand and wrist in the history of the sport. I do actually believes that Paul Linn probably has more arm than John. I think he's got probably more side pressure and explosivity than John. But what John does have is an ability to threaten Paul Linn's hand and wrist. Now, no one at the Dave Patton Classic threatened Paul Linn's hand and wrist on this day here. Everyone Paul Linn was in control of. He had no fear and subsequently went for the big home run off the go. Up against John, we're going to see a different balance. I think we're going to see the same classic strap setup that we saw from Paul Linn. If it gets there, we're going to see big vertical forearm, loaded pronation, and it's going to be an attempt to go sideways. But I think Paul Linn is willing to come here as well. Going top roll v top roll against John is much like what we saw with Chance Shaw do. I think John's hand and wrist is going to be too good, and if it went that way, I would expect Paul Linn to lose his wrist. However, you'll see that what Chance Shaw lacked, Paul Linn has, which is an ability for him to come forward. Paul Linn will trust his ability to come forward. I still expect all that back pressure pronation load to be the emphasis, but from there, expect forward. I actually think that it might not even go to straps. I think the way that Paul Linn is looking right now, there's a good chance he just respects the hand and wrist of John, says, I'm not going to try to slip it. I'm going to use my extra bit of speed and my aggression to just get into the match, get a good position, and see if he can pin John Brzenk and keep it from there. John Brzenk may have to be then forced to do a defensive top roll like he did up against Hadzimurad Zaloyev in the Russian A1 back in 2015, I think it was. But either way, this match is going to be exciting. Paul Linn in great form, clearly, on a steep rise. Paul was, of course, considered the #1 contender for the WAL middleweight division. He's now got his chance to have a shot at the GOAT. It's a big opportunity. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be going down October 23rd in West Virginia, Travis Bajan's tournament. Let me know what you think about it. And, yeah, it's something to look forward to. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that breakdown. We'll see you next time.
Yes, that's a man!